The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits. One thing the last video I did made me realize is that we need to focus maybe on zooming out a little bit. Let's get a little bit more macro. That's why I started working on this one here. This is this chart I was telling you guys about. I've showed it a little bit before. I've adjusted it slightly. But essentially right here we have flows, all right? We have flows and cycles. Here's these mini dips and mini ups and mini downs that I think we're currently in for penny small cap stocks, right? Because most of these are like 75, 90% off or whatever. So here was this little fake out rally that we had with the pennies, right? If you look at the charts, like even if you bought down here with us, right, we were still like 85% off. They only went up like 8% on a full spectrum scale. You might be down a little bit on some of those, but just zoom out and look. I think we're just sitting in the second valley now, starting to get some love in them though. Pay attention, and you should actually make something like this for yourself, even if you have to do it manually, don't know how to do Photoshop or whatever. Just draw this out. That way you've got a good visual on what's going on, because it's so easy to get lost in what? The thrill, disbelief, euphoria, complacency, anxiety, denial, panic. If you've been in the stock market or any big money thing for a while, you've probably been through all these emotions. But this kind of shows a good way to be looking at it. The biggest one to pay attention to is probably euphoria, okay? Because this is how you really make it. If you buy when there's disbelief and people are depressed, when people are pissed and talk about a stock or pissed off at Tesla or whatever it may be, electronic vehicles or gambling stocks right now, they're probably pissed off at gambling stocks or penny stocks or still some SPACs. That's when you got to be buying. You got to buy down here when people are pissed, not when people are euphoria. This is the new gold mine. Don't do it. Pay attention to this graph. We have crypto, I still think, is kind of halfway up. Maybe not even halfway, man. Maybe only like 35, 40% up. It's still in this like little dip. The further it keeps dipping down here, the harder it's going to eventually rip. But I think we're still just stuck right here. Some people are like, I think the top's in. Look at the chart. Show me the chart. We haven't gone through this whole thrill, disbelief, euphoria stage that we usually go through. I think the last time we had the bull run of crypto a couple of years ago, we went like 125% in less than a month up. We haven't done anything even remotely close to that, even in this last little rip we had, right? So pay attention to that. This whole article came out with CNBC. There's some truth in it. Basically, what it said is a lot of big money out there was handed a lot of money from the government, which actually came from us, the people that are getting hit, right, with the devaluation of our currency because they keep printing more, the people who are paying taxes, people like that. The government was printing business bonds, let's call them, and basically handing money to big businesses. And so what's going on? Those people are holding on to tons of cash. How many? Almost 5 trillion. They're calling it 4.7 trillion. If they're calling it 4.7, it's probably 5.7. I don't know. $4.7 trillion in cash that the big money bros have. Remember, with cash, even USD, the one everyone wants, it's still getting devalued daily, especially with more bills and more printing that's happening. It's getting worthless, dude. And so they're better off taking that cash and putting it basically anywhere. Basically anywhere. So what are we showing here? We're showing in this article that they're saying we're probably going to have a rally soon. That's what's going on. They're saying they got about 5 trillion to spend. Where are they going to put it? That's what we need to figure out. Where have they taken that money out of? Stuff like this. This chart should blow you away. So right here on top, we have the S&P 500 in the white silver. Here's the March CVID thing that happened. But see how it's just gone like this, pretty much, when you zoom out? Well, this should trip you out. This orange red on the bottom here are the stocks that make up the S&P 500. At least they're moving averages. Let's just call it their price, to keep it simple, okay? As you might know, when stuff diverges like this, okay, these alligators like to close their mouth eventually. Sometimes they come and meet in the middle. Maybe the S&P will go down, but the regular stocks will go up. Or maybe just the S&P will consolidate and kind of stay the same, maybe down a little bit, but then the stocks in the S&P will come and catch up. See? So maybe this red will start catching up with the S&P. Regardless, these cannot stay that far apart for much longer. At least that's what the chart says. Here's another way of looking at it here. This first one, by the way, was made by Eloquent, the guy on TradingView I keep telling you all to follow. Go follow him. This is kind of a mirror that I made of it. This is a little bit different chart waves on here, but I put in here Cerveza, so you could see how they all dipped. The S&P didn't dip as hard as the individual stocks, though, as far as moving averages go. Right here, we had this big last dip of what? Interest rate hike FUD. That was like end of January last year in February, right? Well, right away it recovered for the most part. But then after the fake bull rally, look what happened. That's when the separation started. You see, where all the individual stocks are just getting whooped, man. We've had some little ups here and there, but look at the divergence here. I put these magnets, one on the top of the S&P and then one at the bottom of the moving averages are the ones that make up it. And as you can see, I have this glory chart here in the dots. That's what I think is probably going to happen. I think some of that 4.7 trillion is going to for sure flow into a lot of these stocks, not futures, stocks that are 75, 85% off, which are many, many, many of them. Why? Because it's easier money. Is the S&P safer right now? I don't think so. And I think everyone is starting to realize that. To me, it's way safer to buy these companies now that are legit for 75, 85% off than buy SPY, which is out in outer space. And only going up because of like what? The top fangs? Tesla now? Fanged? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Not only that, taking a look at crypto here, you know, everyone was thinking we're going to have this Christmas, actually like November, December, huge rally, but it just didn't happen, right? But zooming out on crypto, you know, we're still sitting in this big, huge channel here. This is our Elliott wave, bro, and he's simplifying this and calling this just a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count. If we hit the 4, we're actually going to go down to what number is that? Like 30, I don't know, 35,000 or something, 33, 34,000. Where would that put us? April, January, March, April, May. May we might hit the bottom for crypto. We'll get to that in another video of probably the best way to play crypto right now. But just keep this in mind. We could still just keep bleeding out, dude. We're going to get these fake out rallies here and there, but crypto could still be bleeding out. Don't think and don't be going into leverage unless you're 99% sure we're at either peak or not. Okay. So keep that in mind with crypto. So coming over here, here's a chart actually from a guy named Bit Doctor. You should check out his YouTube. He's super legit, super smart Elliott wave guy too. He's kind of saying, you know, with futures and SPY and all that, he's kind of agreeing with what we're showing above, where, you know, we're going to get maybe a little bit more spikes to fake people out, but the majority of the up is probably done, at least until we take even another breather down. Another breather down, at least on like, especially NASDAQ. Like NASDAQ's got to breathe, dude. The big futures need to breathe and chill out. Just has to happen. So here is what we're thinking as far as charting on that. If we're looking at the SP 500, you know, we think we might get up to like closer to like 4,800-ish, maybe like 47.7, somewhere around there. Maybe get a rally into the end of the year. But we've got what's called like max pain we talk about, and you can Google that, max pain for options. So what would hurt the most amount of people and take money from retail is the game. So to do that, it's going to be basically like December 31st, SPY and futures need to go down. Max Payne's around like 4,480, which is doesn't mean we're going to go higher. It just means we're going to go lower towards the end of the year. But after that is where the options contract switches, and that's where we think we're actually going to get a rally also in futures. It's not going to be like the rallies we've seen. We'll probably still remain in this channel a little bit, but I'm really speculating that we're going to be getting some love back into these stocks that are beat up. There's way more money to be made. It's easier to multiply on stuff that's 85% off than stuff like this that is sitting at all-time highs. Unless it's Tesla, but Tesla's a totally different story. Here's another chart of that. Okay. So I put these magnets here showing these alligator mouth here has to close at some point. Now, the S&P, like we think, is going to dip a little bit and continue up a little bit. But I think that these stocks that are super beat up and legit are going to have a skyrocket effect. And you can see here, by the way, this is MMFI, if you ever want to chart this. Every time we have tagged down like where we're at here, see back here, this was Cerveza. Okay? Look at this. What happened? We zipped up. We like 2x'd all of them. Then back here, what happened? We hit it, and then what? We like 2x'd up. Look where we're at now. We had a fake bull rally past couple weeks or whatever. But now we're like right back down here again. We're ready. I think we're going to do the dotted line. Okay. SPY might be tapped out right here, though. Finish line. We'll see. We will see. Checking out here, this is Elo again. Here's his SPY chart, just throwing on, I believe it's the 200-day moving average here. He's showing that we actually haven't hit that enough times. We need to probably smack it again before we rally. You know, macro, we could end up, 5,000 or 500 or plus on SPY before we finally have the big atomic crash. Could be another year. Regardless, the stocks that are in it have to catch up at some point. He's showing here to hit the 200-day, we'd have to be hitting right around like 451 on SPY. That could happen before the year ends. Got like 2 weeks. Just pay attention to all this. This is a big determining factor here, again, that he pointed out. By the way, here's a link to his TradingView profile. You can follow him there. But he's showing here that the DXY, which is the US dollar currency, all right, we're sitting at a massive trend line that goes back. I think this, I'm not sure if this is the 30-year one, but it's like a major line, this red line here, right? And basically what we're getting at is if we truly do reject where we're darn close to in the next couple of weeks, then what? When the DXY goes down, people move out of cash because it's going to go down. They're going to take that 4.7 trillion and what? Put it into stocks, and that's where the DXY will then what? Go down. Okay, and this will put us, he's showing here, into May almost of next year. Pretty interesting. And at that point, that's when he thinks we'll have a opposite effect, where then the futures will finally fall. You should be taking profits, vice versa of DXY. Follow and get to know DXY very, very well. It should be one of your best friends. There's a couple quotes I gotta bring up. He said we're at a make or break point in the markets right now, and a decision has to be made within the next few days. It does, because we're sitting right at that trend line. If DXY successfully rejects that 10-year trend line, the 30 years above it, the 10-year trend line, then we will see some big moves to the upside in our markets for a few months to come. Remember, it's going to be a soft rally. If it breaks above the trend line, well, then the markets are probably just going to go ahead and tank. One thing you'll learn about this channel and a lot of the friends I hang out with is like we're never like 110% bulls on stuff, and we're never really like 110% bears on stuff. So we get some conflicting opinions, and it's really good to hang around people that look at both sides. You have to pay attention to them. know the charts though. You want to know what's going on? Look at DXY, number one. Look at DXY. So December 31st though, just added this in, the CME options expire for what? Crypto. So what does that mean? So this kind of messed up crypto. Well, it didn't really mess it up. It added more money flow to it. So macro, it's probably bigger picture, but basically you can do options on crypto now. So what that means, you're going to get a lot more manipulation around option expiration dates. December 31st, we have a max pain with $5 billion at stake. There's $5 billion being bet on crypto options right now. And to hurt the most amount of people on that $5 billion, crypto's got to be at 46,000 by December 31st. So what does that mean? BTC is probably going to stay close to 46,000 all the way to the end of the year. So until that ends, until these date hits where these options are going to expire worthless, people are going to lose the $5 billion. It's going to be controlled in that local region to make both calls and puts lose. You see? So that's again that max pain number at 46,000-ish on crypto. That's what's really kind of messing stuff up. But again, macro, I'm not worried about it. Right? Because I'm in different sectors. Now there's one sector that nobody's talking about right now though. I think it's one to pay attention to, especially when what? You look at the chart, what are we going to talk about now? Hi-ho silver. This could make Santa come. Silver? I haven't even talked about silver in a while. Why? Because the chart doesn't tell me, but look at the chart now. Elo pointed this out too. So, you know, silver, everyone was calling me crazy when I first started talking about silver down here. About 15, like, silver's, you can just mine silver. There's endless supply of silver. Not true. It's still hard to get silver. Anyways, we had this big rally. Kind of stopped talking about it through here. All right. Through here, it's just been in this consolidated channel where we're like 28.50 down to now $22, 21.50. Well, we had the second spike down at this support. One, two, three, 4 times we've used this as support pretty much. Here at about $21.85, we'll call it. $21.85. Well, we bounced again off of it, came back down, retested it, and are still pointed north a little bit. Look at the chart, man. So we're sitting at like $22.53 when I took the screenshot here. According to his Elliott wave calculations, golden zone is going to be about 28 bucks. And that's conservative. We could go extended out to like $33. We're still thinking micro here though, okay? Eventually, just like AMD, remember AMD's chart looked almost exactly like this? You guys remember that? I did a video on AMD, I don't know, a month ago. Look at AMD's chart. It looked almost exactly like this. It just consolidated within like a $5 range forever, dude, like over a year. And finally, it looked exactly like this, and it broke. And then what happened? Dude, it's almost like, I don't even know, 40% above that, which would put it, napkin math, you know, maybe at like $56 silver if it breaks out the same way AMD did. Okay. But Elo isn't finished with that. He's saying that silver has finally broke that down trend in his eyes. He said, I think it's going to rip from here, especially if DXY, the US dollar, rejects that 10-year trend line like we were talking about. This move might be the beginning of a massive move to the upside. He said to around $100. If we break out of this box that we're in. Remember, we could throw a board on top of this 1 and this X here. So if we can break above that, you know, around like 20, If we can break above like 29, 30 bucks, sky's the limit, bro. Look at the AMD chart. I wish I would have put it up here, but I didn't. I just thought of it now. But by all means, by the way, $100 is totally conservative. Silver is getting more and more expensive to mine, by the way. Did you know that you need silver in basically every electronic vehicle too? Did you know copper is like a byproduct? Did you know that silver is a byproduct of gold mining? Sometimes, some mines. It isn't going to happen though overnight, he said, so don't expect a moonshoot by tomorrow, but I think silver is a solid buy down here for a longer term hold. I agree. So this is why I love playing miner stocks, okay? So like you could play silver and gold 10,000 different ways. I have the best way for you. What is that? You buy smaller cap silver miners, okay? The miners are where the money's at. You buy the small cap miners. So it's kind of like in SPACs, we're going to buy warrants when they're super cheap. We're not going to go out and buy like Lucid when it's like $40 or $50, right? We could go buy silver stocks that are like sky high, billions dollar market cap, and you might get 20 to 40% rip. Or you could buy the non-LOI warrants, or the warrants that are just beat up and tiny, but without the warrant risk. That will multiply like crazy, bro. So first one out the gate, we're going to talk about here. This is a almost pure play on Nevada in America. BKRRF, BlackRock Silver Corp. This is one of the biggest silver places in the world. Maybe it is the biggest. I don't know. They got an insane amount of land though that they own. Right now it's sitting around like 70 cents. It's had a high of like 95. So even if we get silver back to like this first channel on 28, this will probably come close to 2xing. At least. This is still like mainly exploration though. Keep in mind on like these smaller cap ones, this has got a $100 million market cap, which is low for mining. It's not as low as you can get, but it's not billions either, right? So this still has a lot of room to multiply. But this is what happens. So right here, it's showing that a company called First Majestic Silver. You ever heard of them? First Majestic Silver, that's one of the ones we were talking about earlier, like talking about billion-dollar market cap companies. First Majestic's like as legit as you're going to get, but it's not going to multiply as hard. So what does First Majestic do? They invest in companies like BlackRock because they know that's where you get in. You get in before it's cool. You play stuff the same way across all platforms. So First Majestic is investing in who? BlackRock. So you follow who they invest in. Don't just invest in them, right? There you go. First play. Second one is SSVRF, Suma. I've never even heard of this one until someone in our group brought it up when we were scripting this baby out. Quick due diligence on it. New Mexico. All right. Nevada, Canada. Great. Low market cap. Decent share structure. New positive press releases. The chart, Suma Silver, looks good. High grade gold and silver developed. So let's all have gold for a little bit more stability. Market cap 45 million. Look at the chart. It's sitting at 72 cents. High almost 2x. Basically the same thing, right? But just remember, like, dude, if silver gets to like $100, these smaller ones could 5-10x. Easy. Another one, Colorado. Y'all ever been to Colorado? Colorado Rocky Mountain Highs? AUNFF, Arcana Silver Corp. They have started to produce silver finally. Done a couple of videos, you know, when we were buying it way back here, bro. Surfed it up. Look at the chart. I love the chart. We're sitting at like 30 cents. Had a high of almost $1. It's like a 3xer. But again, that's only at like $28 silver. And we're only at 22 at the bottom of channel. Next one, GRSLF. Smaller cap here. Mostly exploration. Probably not producing. But again, this is where you multiply, man. So a lot of the big silver bros like Silver Majestic, I think that they're invested in these guys too. GR Silver Mining, they have like Mexico. That's all I remember. I know they got places in Mexico. Small cap sitting at 21 cents. And look at this beautiful chart, man. This thing has been over 70 cents. It's over a 3xer. It's like a 3.5xer if we get to only $28 silver, essentially. Imagine if we got to even $40 or $50, $100 silver or above. Okay. Next one is RSNVF. RSNVF for me. By the way, type these full names in, especially if you're not in the United States, because a lot of these are on the OTC, and so, you know, you need to type in the name, because if you're in Canada, it'll probably be different than other places. Reina Silver Corp. Another exploration, mostly Mexico. But how do you play mining stocks, by the way? And this is very important to remember. These are mines. This is like super sketchy stuff, because mines are physical and dangerous. A mine can collapse. People can die. They can get robbed. If any of these things happen, it could really hurt the stock. So how do you play this? You buy an equal amount of all these tickers is what I suggest. Don't just YOLO one. They could get robbed. They could have a mining accident. It happens. Last but not least, let's talk about USAS Americas. America's Gold and Silver Corporation. So you got a little bit of gold in there, silver. These guys are producing. They got multi-mine producing. They got Mexico silver. They got, like, I think they got a patent on like silver extraction stuff they're doing. They also got a Nevada gold silver mine operating. They have a couple other locations in America, I think. Look at the chart. 90 cents low right now. Chart looks just beautiful, man. High at almost $4, bro. Over 3x. USAS. Grab some of that too. Any of the plays you can see that are totally beat up, or even sectors that we're missing. I like gambling right now. All gambling plays beat up. But I see massive macro future in gambling. Sports, gambling, sports, GENI, stuff like that. Silver. Crypto eventually, you know, yeah, I'm sitting in some crypto stuff, but I'm just kind of in chill mode at this point. I think this was a good pivot. I think SPACs are going to have their next rally too. You know, penny stocks are starting to heat up. Remember that chart above? Go study that chart, download it, make your own. I appreciate watching the video. Would you mind liking it and sharing it with your friends? That's all I really ask. I'm going to keep the advertisements off on this video for you. Does that sound weird? That's okay. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. Celebrate all your holidays that you got. Love your family. Eat some good food. We'll see y'all there tomorrow. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.